In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to install Posadoble and its applications on a Linux computer, to be precise, all the Ubuntu variants like Linux Mint, Pop! OS, Zorin OS, Kubuntu, or in this case, Tuxedo OS. Posadoble is a web application. In other words, it's a website, and for a website to run, you need a web server and a database. So we're going to install the web server, Apache, and the database, and that's either MySQL or MariaDB first. And regretfully, we have to dive into the terminal. So start the terminal. Let's first do a update of our package manager. So type in sudo apt update. And sudo apt upgrade. Yes, okay, fine. Now let's install the web server. Type in sudo apt install and then Apache 2. Do we want to continue? Of course. Now to test if this works, let's go to localhost. Just type in localhost into your browser. This can be Firefox or Chrome or Chromium. Okay, and that works. Now we're going to install the database. That's either MySQL or MariaDB. So make sure that everything is updated again. And upgrade it again. The next thing we're going to do is install the database, that's MySQL or its successor MariaDB. Therefore, type in sudo apt install MariaDB server. Enter. Yes. Now what we're going to do is secure the thing, and we can do that with the command sudo space mysql underscore secure underscore installation. Current password for root, that is none. Out of the box it is none. Do you want to switch to Unix authentication? No, we don't. Want to change the root password? Yes, we do. Now choose a password that makes sense to you. Do you want to remove anonymous users? Absolutely. Do you want to allow remote login? In this case, we're only going to use it on this computer itself. Yes, I don't want people to log in from outside with the root account. I can still add users later that can. Remove test database, yes. Reload privileges, 100%, so yes. And now we're ready to use this thing. What you can do is install a tool like Antares SQL. It is in your software manager probably. In this case it's Discover, but it can be KDE software as well. And now let's test it with the default localhost root. And now please enter your root password. Let's test the connection, and it is successful. You can also click on connect. And now we are in the database itself. We can click away Antares. Now I want to look if the proper directories exists. Under Ubuntu, we can find our web documents. That's the thing we need to copy our installation of Posadoble to. So let's go to var www html, there it is. And when we go to localhost in our browser, you can see here this is localhost, and this document here corresponds with this path var www html. Now let's download our software. So let's go to download, and we're going to download it from GitHub. And here on the code, download zip. Okay, I started on the downloads, that's just fine. Now let's wait for the download to finish. Okay, it's finished. Now let's go to the download directory. Okay. From the zip file that we just opened over here to our web documents directory. So let's close this. And then we have over here our HTML directory. Where's Arc? Arc is over here. Okay. For security reasons, there are two types of directories, and there is the public directory and there is a private directory. Or in this case, there are multiple private directories. So what we're going to do is copy everything that is over here and copy that in our www directory, because the HTML directory is the public directory and that corresponds with the public directory in our installation over here. So we're going to copy everything without the public, yeah, and that doesn't work. Okay, now we have a problem because we don't have sufficient permissions. So what we're going to do is make our current user the user that the web server uses on your computer. So we dive into the terminal again. var, let's go to var www. No, let's go to var. Yeah, we're going to do that with sudo chown, change owner, uppercase -r, and then the user, and then the directory var www. Now the web server can't write in that directory, and we need to, because we need to be able to write, for example, config files and log files. So now we're going to change the user of the Apache. Let's go to etc. Apache env vars. Okay, run user. And let's make that the user that I am now, and I am the user Dennis, and also the group Dennis. And now let's exit this, write out, Control O, yes, and then Control X, yes, okay. Now let's restart the web server. Can do that with the command sudo service apache 2 restart. Okay, now let's try that again with unzipping the folders to the right directory, HTML, and now copy all the other directories from the installation except the public, because the public was the HTML. And now we can drag and drop. That worked. And now let's go into the public directory, which is HTML. Yes. Let's remove this HTML file. So I press delete. And now I go into the public directory over here. And now I copy everything in that public directory in the HTML directory. So let's install PHP, sudo apt install PHP lib apache 2 mod PHP. Do you want to continue? Yes. But Apache doesn't know MySQL, so that's we do with sudo apt install php MySQL. Yes. Let's restart Apache again. Sudo systemctl restart Apache 2.service. And now we can start the install by going to http localhost install and index.php. Let's make this bigger. This also. Okay, what would you like to do? Now we're going to install the software for real. Install, next. Now, yes, agree with the terms of the license. And here we have some prerequisites. We fail on a couple of fronts, so let's make sure that we get rid of those errors. Mod read write is not enabled. And we can do that in a simple way. Just copy this text. Let's go to the terminal and then paste this text. Let's restart the web server also. Yes. Now we have mod rewrite enabled, but URL rewriting still doesn't work. Now let's go to the Apache 2.conf file. That was over here. Yes, let's sudo nano into this nano apache 2.conf. Whoops. Yes, directory here. Allow override, and that is set to none, and we need to set it to allow override alt. I'm going to copy this. Going to paste this. Yep, I did. Okay, Ctrl X, save, yes. Let's restart the web server again. Okay, now let's run the checks again. Yes, we passed. Okay, we're still missing a couple of PHP modules. To install these in one go, let's copy this command over here, copy, and let's paste those into the terminal, paste, enter. Want to continue? Yes. Okay, now let's run those checks again. We completely passed. Great. Now let's do next. Create configuration files, done. Next. Now let's connect to the database localhost root. Database schema. Let's make that Posadoble. CMS5 was an internal name. Next. Succeeded. Next. Okay, now a scary message about privacy laws. You need to anonymize data for the GDPR. I've set this standard to 10 years, so 365 minus times 10, so 3,650. If you run this on a local computer, then you can just uncheck these because those are the fields that are encrypted. The problem is if you encrypt those, you can't search for those and also don't sort. And to improve the search, we can also add them as a search field. But this is not recommended when you are on a public website, because if you get a breach, then if things are not encrypted, you are liable. Save. And now the actual installation process runs. Okay. Now let's create a user. I create the user root with a password of root, but please select another username and password that is not as easily guessable. You can enter an email address. We don't do anything with that email address, just for you internally. Let's create. Everything succeeded. Next. And now we get an installation overview. Please make sure that you print this or save this in a text file or something. And let's click on login. And here we are. We can use our username and our password that we just created and click on login. And here we are.